I was impressed with that move you pulled. Bang.
Ooh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's me, it's G, it's DMC, the undefeated, undisputed YouTube champion. That's right, it's the Maverick, Mark Daniels. And we're here with our Smackdown live review for August 8th, 2017. Again, in Toronto, just like we were on Raw. And it was a really good show. The crowd was hot tonight. There was a lot of exciting stuff with the crowd tonight. And there was a lot of fun stuff on the show tonight. In fact, there was nothing on the show that I hated. There's a couple of things I was kind of in the middle about. Some things I were just like, that was kind of fast. Looking at you, Lana versus Charlotte. But I guess that's what Lana does. I don't know. We'll talk about that, though. So we start things off with a replay from last week with Nakamura beating John Cena. And the commentators kind of played it off like the backdrop that Nakamura gave to Cena with him landing really bad on his neck is really the reason why he lost the match, which doesn't take anything away from Nakamura necessarily, but it gives Cena an excuse, I guess. Although he didn't make that known. He just said that he got hit hard, that Nakamura put up a really good fight. He didn't quite get it when Nakamura first got here, which I don't necessarily believe, because I've read and I've heard that Cena is one of Nakamura's biggest supporters and has been. I know that Bray Wyatt once said that he's a major fan of Nakamura and wanted a chance to wrestle him before Nakamura even signed with NXT. So I know there's some people backstage that are definitely rooting for the guy. I know that Vince, from what I understand, does not get the whole Shinsuke Nakamura thing. The guy doesn't speak very good English. What's the appeal with him? What he does transcends that, and it's rare to see that in the industry. I haven't really seen too many other guys that can come out to a ring. And granted, he did cut an interview tonight. I thought was his best interview yet in WWE. We'll talk about that when we get there. But, a guy like Nakamura doesn't need to talk. He just goes out there. He has this charisma about him, but he doesn't need to speak. But he just oozes this charisma. It's just crazy, how charismatic this guy is. And I mentioned this before, but when I started watching New Japan Pro Wrestling, I watched it, I believe it was Wrestle Kingdom 9, when they had the first ever English commentary, and they built it up as a big deal. And I think it was AJ versus Nakamura. I could be wrong. But I first saw that show, and I've seen Nakamura a few times. I've seen clips of him and stuff. I always thought the guy was awesome. But when you actually watch the guy, and you watch him flow in a match, and he comes out that big entrance and everything, it's so different, and you just get intertwined in it, and you just really feel it. I don't know. I really was just drawn to this guy. I started following New Japan Pro Wrestling because of Nakamura and because of AJ Styles and the Young Bucks, and because I'm a big Young Bucks fan too. But Shinsuke was really what brought me to New Japan, because I could see the Young Bucks on Ring of Honor. I could see AJ Styles on Ring of Honor. So it was not one of those things where I had to watch New Japan to just see AJ Styles. Granted, Shinsuke wrestled on Ring of Honor a couple times too, but not nearly as often as the Bucks, because they're signed with Ring of Honor. So I was really following the guy, and then when he got signed, him and AJ both, it was just just amazing. It was amazing. But anyways, enough about that. This was awesome. Cena comes out there, cuts a good promo. Of course, as soon as he comes out the loud, John Cena sucks, the whole singing thing, and he was into it. Then he puts over Shinsuke big time, and then there was loud Nakamura chants, and then he mentions Jinder Mahal, and then there was loud Jinder chants. This is probably the first time ever, not even just his run as champion, but period, that I've heard such a reaction for Jinder. Good thing. I think he needed that for sure, and his match tag with Orton was actually pretty good, and the crowd reaction definitely helped with that, in my opinion. It might turn some people's views on Jinder Mahal. Now, I was one of the people that when it happened, I was shocked. When he got the number one contendership. When he got that, I thought he was going to win. I didn't think Randy was going to win against him. I thought it was going to be the era of Jinder Mahal. But I've always was sitting back and kind of watching and was hoping the guy would succeed. And honestly, overall, I think he kind of missed. I don't think it delivered quite as much as I was hoping it would. Although he's not doing a terrible job. He's doing an okay job. But I think the booking of what has happened to him beforehand, and the constant, just immediately, just giving him the belt was just, I think it really hurt him a lot, and it made a lot of people very crucial of him. So I think overall his run has been a miss, but I don't think it's something that, I think it hurt him more than it helped him, or it helped him more than it hurt him, because I can definitely see him because I think Nakamura might win the title at SummerSlam. I'm kind of leaning towards that. We'll do SummerSlam predictions when we get close to it. We still have another week here, but I think even if Jinder loses the title to Nakamura, I think there's a chance that he could win it again sometime down the line. The forward heel always works in the States. It's always popular. I think that they could have made Mahal a babyface, with this story of him being this guy who came from nothing. And he won me over as a babyface when he was on Talking Smack, and I miss Talking Smack so much because you get to see, the personality of some of these guys that you don't really get to see on television, and they become more likable and you connect with them a little bit more. And when Jinder Mahal was on there talking about how hard he works and, how he always wanted this, and then you hear stories about him, owning a Subway, not like a New York tram type Subway, but like a restaurant, He was running a Subway, and that was kind of what he was doing, and then he wanted to get back into wrestling, and he did. He was getting ready to call it a career, though. And it's crazy how things changed for him. And I'm happy for him. I am happy for him. But overall, he has not entertained me as a fan. But it was great to see the reaction for him because it's always been very lukewarm at best. And on the internet, people just shit all over the guy. So it was nice to see some people give him some respect, even though he is from Canada. They bill him from India. He is Indian heritage, but he is from Canada. So that's why they were cheering him so much. But it was still nice to see. So there was a couple mentions of Montreal Screwjob tonight. They do this whenever they're in Canada. And Cena mentioned there's going to be no Montreal Screwjob. The crowd, of course, starts booing. Corbin comes out with new music, and I like his music. We're getting a lot of new theme music lately, and I like it. Can we get Cesaro some new music and maybe Nia Jax? Because I cannot stand their music. I like it. I like Corbin's new music. Compared to Big Cass's music, which is very generic. Compared to Jason Jordan's, which I think Jason Jordan's is okay. I think it'll grow on me over time, and maybe other people as well, because it's very reminiscent of Kurt Angle's, but it's a little different. But this is I thought it was pretty good. So he comes out. Cena calls him a dumpster fire because a fan is holding a sign that says he's a dumpster fire. Then you get dumpster fire chants. Corbin and him kind of banter back and forth a little bit. And then Corbin was basically saying, I don't care about respect. I don't need respect. I don't need to beat you. I have this. I have money in the bank. I don't need to beat you. And starts walking away. Well, then Daniel Bryan comes out. He gets a monster reaction. It was awesome to see. Yes chants and everything. And you just tell with the crowd reaction, Cena and Daniel Bryan were just loving this. You could just tell. They were kind of bouncing off each other a little bit. You could tell that some of this was not scripted. And I think that's when wrestling's at its best. You get to see genuine reactions with these guys, and I love that. That's why I love Talking Smack. And we still get it after pay-per-views, and it'll be interesting to see what they do for SummerSlam. We're going to get Raw Talk, we're going to get Talking Smack. Is it going to be a mix? What are we going to get? Talking Slam? Sounds terrible. Summer Talk? Summer Talk with Renee Young. No, but you can just tell, that Daniel Bryan were just loving. They were kind of going off the dumpster fire, line. And the crowd started chanting it some more. But it was a fun segment. He ended up making the match between Cena and Corbin at SummerSlam, which was pretty obvious what was going to happen, especially after what happened last week after Smackdown was over, with Cena, throwing him through a table. I'm fine with that. I think Corbin versus Cena could be an okay match. It's not going to be a barn burner, but it's good for Corbin. If Cena's leaving for a while, I say put Corbin over. You can come back and get your win back from Corbin sometime down the line. But I think you have Corbin win this match, look very credible with the briefcase, and you can even have him cash in that night. But if he does cash in, I'm fearful that he'll lose the match because he has the briefcase and he'll end up looking strong at the end of the night, which is fine. I don't really care either way, honestly. But if Nakamura wins the title, I 100% see Corbin cash in right afterwards to a very ruckus Brooklyn crowd shitting all over Corbin, and that's exactly what they want. However, I see that more of a main event type of thing. So I don't know if they're going to do that SummerSlam. See, that's why I'm so conflicted on that, and I was conflicted last week when I talked about it because I just don't know. I feel like that's something you do at the main event of a pay-per-view. You don't do that because this is not main eventing. Nakamura versus Jinder is not main eventing over Brock Lesnar versus Roman versus Samoa Joe versus Braun Strowman. It's just not happening. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it opened the show or be in the middle of the show. And hopefully not, because I know that last year we had Dean Ambrose versus Ziggler at SummerSlam in the middle of the card, and people shit all over it. So I'm hoping this doesn't really happen with Nakamura and Jinder. I could see Jinder cheating his way to win, and then you have next month, or the next pay-per-view won't be a month. It'll probably be 2 weeks, or it could be a month away. I don't know the order of the pay-per-views. Nakamura can win the title, and then you can have Baron cash in then and get the title from Nakamura. So not only does he get screwed this time, in the chase is where the money's at anyway. So what you do is you screw over Nakamura. Maybe do that for a couple months. Have Nakamura finally win the title, only for Baron Corbin to cash in and take all the heat back. And now you got Baron Corbin versus Shinsuke, possibly even a triple threat match with Jinder Mahal mixed in there, and then just Baron versus Shinsuke. And eventually Shinsuke wins the big one, gets the title for a second time, and then you can have AJ Styles win the Rumble or just win a qualifying match for the title shot. And then you can have Nakamura versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship. That's where I think the money's at. I would love to see that. I think everybody would love to see that. Anyways, great segment. I enjoyed this segment. Very fun stuff. Then we had the first match of the night, which was the Usos versus Sami Zayn and Ty Dillinger, 2 Canadian homegrown boys. Crowd was very hot for both Ty and Sami. This was a fun match. It was quick, but it was good for what it was. Usos ended up winning with the Tequila Sunrise, making Ty Dillinger tap out. Just a small critique. Ty was a little weak on the tap out. Just a little weak on the tap out. Show a little bit more pain. Slap that mat. He just kicked your knee in. You're tapping out. Feed into that, really tap in, just you're in pain. Tap the mat, man. Just a small criticism. But otherwise, I thought it was fine. Afterwards, the Usos, they mocked the New Day because they have a match with them at SummerSlam. New Day comes out. Huge New Day rocks chance. They grab steel chairs. They're about to hit Jimmy. Jay saves Jimmy. Jimmy and Jay run away. And New Day stand tall in the middle of the ring. So it was overall, it was fun. It was fine. I enjoyed it overall. Then we had a interview with Randy Orton backstage with Renee. Renee got a major pop from the crowd because, again, she's Canadian. Randy got booed, naturally. Randy didn't really say much. It was kind of a bland promo. Nothing really to talk about. And then my favorite part of the night, Fashion Peaks. Man, I've enjoyed Fandango and Tyler Breeze before they even did these skits. And these skits have just won me over so much of these guys. They are my favorite tag team right now in WWE. I just find them so entertaining. And honestly, with these segments, the Ascension are kind of winning me over too. I think Ascension's slowly getting over because of these segments, which is kind of funny. So Tyler Breeze is with the Ascension, and they have pie on the table. And, Tyler Breeze is like, we had this weird dream. You're in it. You're pouring syrup over a log and all this bullshit. And Ascension's like, are you going to pass that pie? And they start eating the pie. He's like, wait, are you guys going to help me out? And he's like, no, we came here for the pie. And they leave. And then Fandango just randomly shows up with a tie on his head. And, Tyler Breeze's like, oh, where were you? He's like, oh, aliens abducted me. Oh, were they not? How'd you get out? He's like, oh, I could have left at any time. Why didn't you leave? Anal probes. Outfits. Awesome, outfits. So, and he's like, now I can see the future. And Tyler's like, really, you can? Just prove it. And he's like, the next person that walks into that room, destroy Tully the horse. And you see this the shadowy figure in the door, and in comes Arn Anderson, which I popped big time for. And they asked him, did you destroy Tully the horse? And he kind of zooms in on him, was like, yeah, damn right I did. It should have been named Arn. I was the hoss of the crew. Grabs a couple donuts, says, I'm grabbing these, and ends up leaving. And then Tyler says, oh, this case is just beginning. And then it kind of cuts away. It was really funny. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this segment. Keep Ascension in these, man. Ascension's getting over with me. I don't know how other people feel. Let me know in the comment section below how you feel about the Ascension right now. But they're showing a little bit of personality here, and I think it's working. So keep this going, man. This is good stuff. Whoever's writing these segments, by the way, deserves a goddamn raise because these are awesome. Then we probably had the weakest moment in the show, which was Charlotte versus Lana. Although probably the weakest part of the show had one of the greatest moments of the show, at least if you're in the crowd, specifically if you were looking towards the hard camera. If you don't know, near the beginning of the match, Lana goes for like a roll-up. She ends up pulling Charlotte's pants down, so she's bare-ass. We didn't get to see anything, unfortunately. But you can see the jaws of the audience members just drop to the floor. And Charlotte just goes, whoa! And pulls her pants up immediately. It was pretty funny. They start chanting for "Thank you, Lana." You can see Charlotte just kind of chuckle, at that, at them chanting that. She probably felt pretty good because I'm sure, with when her nudes leaked, right? Um, which happened fairly recently, almost forgotten about, really. People were kind of making fun of her for it, at least all over Facebook groups and on Twitter. And I imagine she probably got some nasty messages. So probably hearing that probably made her feel better about that whole situation. I feel bad for her because no one deserves that. Not only just getting your pictures leaked, but also being harassed by people saying, "Oh, you're disgusting," and this. Really? I mean, look in the mirror, guys. Come on. Seriously. You guys would die. You guys would chop off your left ankle at just the chance of being with Charlotte Flair. Don't even act like you wouldn't. But I thought it was great. The match was really quick. Not a very special match. Charlotte ends up hitting a running boot. Figure eight for the win. Originally, when I typed this my outline out, I was like, I don't know what they're doing with Lana. They built her up so much, and then she's just been getting squashed and squashed and squashed. And then Tamina came out and was like trying to mentor her. So I thought maybe that would lead into like her teaching Lana how to wrestle, but now I'm not so sure. Because later in the night, Lana and Tamina were backstage a little bit after this segment. This is a couple segments between us, so we'll get to those in a second. I guess last week Lana said that she wants to be like a good wrestler like Tamina, but more charismatic, more ravishing. So Tamina comes backstage and she's kind of laughing at her and kind of throws that in her face like, "Oh, were you a better wrestler than me? Were you more charismatic than me? Were you more ravishing than me?" Lana was just like, you proved your points. That's okay. You can leave now. And Tamina says, this and your wrestling skills didn't get you those 3 title matches. Your ambition did, and now you're gonna help me get mine. So I don't know what this is gonna lead to. This could be funny. We could see some funny skits out of this, but I doubt it. I'm interested though. We'll see what happens from here. I mean, I don't really know what else to say about it. Then we had the U.S. title contract signing. They made this seem like a really big deal. Shane McMahon comes out to a pretty good pop, and we had dual chance for AJ Styles and Kevin Owens when they were out there. This seemed like a really big deal, which is awesome. I'm glad that that's the case. Kevin Owens, my God, is this man great? So they're kind of bantering back and forth, and basically this whole segment was Kevin Owens trying to cause some tension between Shane and AJ. He brings up WrestleMania. He brings up a clip with AJ attacking Shane backstage and smashing his head through the car window and all that good stuff. He says that I want to make sure. He said something along the lines. It's not verbatim, but he says something along the lines like, I don't want you to screw a legendary Canadian because you've done that before. And the crowd, of course, goes ooh, and they start chanting, "You screwed Brett, you screwed Brett." And then Kevin Owens completely turns, and this is why he's so awesome. He literally says, "But that guy deserved it." And the crowd goes, ooh. It was really funny. I really enjoyed that moment in this segment. AJ says if Shane screws him, he'll get repercussions like he did at Mania. AJ says, "Don't take it personally. I don't trust you. You're a McMahon. I don't trust anybody." So taking a line from Stone Cold Steve Austin there. Kevin shows footage of Shane being around. Speaking of Stone Cold, it was Stone Cold versus Mankind. Of Shane basically screwing over Steve Austin, and he goes on to say, you can look up the network, just look it up. You can find so many times where Shane McMahon was a special guest referee and screwed people over. Hell, you can make a whole collection series out of it on the network. And people were kind of chuckling. Kevin Owens was definitely the MVP of this segment here. It was really good stuff. Then they start brawling a little bit. Kevin Owens and AJ. Shane gets in between them. Kevin Owens hits a cheap shot on AJ Styles. AJ Styles, with his back turn, hits a Pele kick, but does not hit Kevin. Hits Shane McMahon. And the crowd starts chanting, "You screwed Shane." Shane says something along the lines of pointing to his watch, saying your time is limited or something along those lines. Obviously causing some tension between Shane and AJ, which was Kevin's goal. Good segment, though. Really good build for this title match. I'm excited for it. It should be a barn burner for sure. Then we had the third match of the night, which was Carmella versus Naomi. Carmella, of course, being Mrs. Money in the Bank. We had Ellsworth chants throughout this entire match until Ellsworth finally came out from under the ring, where the crowd popped big time. He distracts Naomi, and Carmella ends up winning the match with some sort of a super kick. I don't know if she has a name for that. I don't know if it's going to be her new finish, what the case might be. But Carlos and Ellsworth run into Natalya backstage. Natalya says to keep their noses out of her business at SummerSlam. And Carmella basically says, "I don't know why you're so worried about." She kind of lifts up her briefcase and says, because we're rooting for you to win, Natalia. And they start laughing and they kind of walk away. Pretty good stuff. I enjoyed it. Then we had Shinsuke's interview with Renee, and like I said, it was probably his best interview to date. He was talking, putting over John Cena, saying, he's a very decorated champion, 16-time world champion. I had a really good match with John Cena, and now he's looking forward to facing Jinder Mahal at SummerSlam. Again, not verbatim. I'm kind of summarizing what he said, but I thought it was pretty good. There was a few times where I understood him fine, but there was a few moments where I could tell if I wasn't listening very carefully that someone could maybe misconstrue what he said or quite not understand what he said. Just a couple words, nothing too major though. I thought he came off great during this. They're obviously giving him some vocal lessons to help him speak better English, which is good. They definitely need to do that for him because if they're going to have him do these promos and stuff and he's going to be the champion, he's got to be able to talk at least a little bit. But I thought he did fine in the segment for sure. Then we had the main event, which was Jinder Mahal versus Randy Orton. Again, Jinder was very over here. The crowd was very much into him. They were chanting for Jinder throughout the entire match. It was actually a pretty good match, too. It was pretty physical. I thought Jinder had his best showing yet. He actually got to go out there and have a match without a bunch of screwy stuff happening from the Singh brothers. And the finish was pretty cool. So he puts him in the Colossus, which is that Cobra Clutch Nelson that he does for his finish. Goes up to pick Randy Orton for, but Randy Orton counters it into an RKO, wins the match. But the only problem I had with this match was they don't really need to win this match. I get it. He lost to Jinder Mahal 3 times already. But you have Jinder Mahal going into a WWE title match against Shinsuke Nakamura at SummerSlam. Randy Orton will be going against Rusev, which is fine. But, did he need the win? I don't think so. It's Randy Orton. I don't think it takes away from his credibility losing against Jinder Mahal again. It could have helped Jinder out a lot more than it would have helped Randy, in my honest opinion. But other than that, though, I was fine with the match. The match was fine. I thought Jinder looked good in the match. I'm still leaning towards Shinsuke winning the title. But if I were to do it myself, even though SummerSlam would be a huge moment for Shinsuke, I just see Shinsuke getting cashed in on by Baron Corbin. I don't know if they would waste that in the middle of the show. I just don't know. I don't know if they would waste a moment like that in the middle of SummerSlam, because that's going to be the talk of the night leading into the main event. I think that they want the talk of the night to be on that main event for the Universal title. So I'm not sure. Or maybe they just want to give everything in one show. It is SummerSlam. It is a big show. Maybe they do everything on that show. Because I kind of see Carmella cashing in as well. I don't think we've never had 2 cash-ins in one night. So that would be a big deal. And I mentioned this again last week, but my mind's like, don't think about that because I don't think it's going to happen. And I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know. I feel like they're going to spread it out a little bit, because they got to write TV for, at least, for a few months now, because chances are Brock's not retaining the title, which means you're not going to have Brock anymore. So you got to work on some stuff. You got to have some more attractions for the show. I think you have Shinsuke lose the match. Maybe have the Singh brothers get involved. He cheats to win. Shinsuke gets one more chance, whether he earns it or just gets the shot at the next pay-per-view. Then Shinsuke wins the title, then you have Baron Corbin cash in. I think that's the best way to do it, in my honest opinion. I would love to see Shinsuke win at SummerSlam, though. It'd be a big win for him. It'd be a big deal. I just don't know if I see that happen. Plus, I don't really see Brock Lesnar retaining the title, unless that was all a swerve for us to think he's leaving WWE for UFC, but he's actually not. I don't know, man. But that's what's so exciting about SummerSlam. I really don't know what's going to happen. It's kind of unpredictable, in my opinion. And it's looking like it's going to be a really good show. We have a lot of good matches. So far, we have Cena versus Corbin, which, could be a decent match. Could be a good match. We have Rusev versus Orton, which could be a good match. I'm happy for Rusev to get a spot on Mania. Or not Mania, at SummerSlam, because he's kind of just been doing nothing. Even if he's probably going to lose, I'm still happy for the guy. We have the WWE title match, Jinder Mahal versus Shinsuke. We have not Carmella. We have Naomi versus Natalia. It's going to be an okay match. We're going to find out if it's going to be Sasha or Nia or both versus Alexa at SummerSlam. But my money's on Sasha. I think it's going to be Sasha versus Alexa, which is going to be a good match. We have the AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens with Shane McMahon as special guest referee. That'll be a good match. It's looking like The Miz versus Jason Jordan for the Intercontinental title. Tozawa versus Neville, which will be a good match as well. We have the tag team title match. Looks like it's going to be Rollins and Ambrose versus I'm drawing a blank. I'm drawing a blank. Cesaro and Sheamus. I don't know why I couldn't think of them. I kept wanting to think of Dash Wilder and the Revival. I just couldn't think of it for a minute. I had a brain fart there. And then we have the Usos versus the New Day, which was easily the best match on Battleground. So I'm assuming they're going to have a good match. That's 10 matches so far. We could see another couple. I know there's a pre-show match that's going to be the Hardys versus, I believe, the Good Brothers on the pre-show. And we'll probably get one more pre-show match beyond that. So we're looking like we're going to have quite a stacked card. Oh, and the Universal title match. I didn't even mention that, I don't think. So that's 11 matches. Let me double check. Hold on. So we have both tag team title matches, Intercontinental US, Cruiserweight, Universal WWE title, both women's. That's 9. Yeah, Corbin and Cena, Rusev and Horn. Wow, we have 11 matches on the main card. I would assume it's all on the main card plus. Wow, that's crazy. That's a big show. That's a lot of matches. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. That's a pretty stacked card. Anyways, that's the end of this review, guys. If you liked this video, hit that like button. If you liked SmackDown, let me know in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought. You know, are you digging SummerSlam? Are you excited for it? I'm actually getting pretty excited for it. I think it's going to be a good show. 11 matches, that was a lot. So I don't know. Maybe it could drag on. I hope not. But anyways, guys, until next time, I am the Maverick Mark Daniels. Bidding you a farewell, peace, and one love.